Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. I am Johnny, Becky's younger brother, one and only.
I'm Jordan Otten. I am Rich's cousin, and we're going to be your MCs for the evening. So.
Good turnout, I see.
Oh yeah, not bad, not bad. Good crowd.
Just a few.
Just a few.
So I'm Johnny. I'm the oldest, smartest, dumbest, youngest, and weakest brother. I should mention, only.
I'm Jordan. I am the hottest. I think that was a typo. Sorry, I'm the hostess. Whew, sorry, that's embarrassing. I'm her favorite sister-in-law. She just wants to do everything I do. I do hair, she does hair. I'm an Otten, she's an Otten wannabe. I'm basically better than her.
So, yeah, we are the MCs. Yahoo! Woohoo!
I do want to make it clear, the more drinks you guys have, the funnier we become.
Because we're not that funny.
Now introducing the rest of this crazy bunch, starting off with the least favorite. Oh wait, I guess that would be us. Now that's awkward. All right, next up is Tash and Ty. Woo!
You guys gotta dance a little.
Okay. Tash, Becky said you're a sweetheart, and that's all the dirt we got on you. Sorry.
Beep, beep, here comes the red truck. Red this, red that. What's your first word? Red?
Let's see your truck. Woo! Okay. Next up is Wes and Mel. That's you.
Wes? Wes? Oh, there he is. He grew a couple inches. And then he shrunk.
Mel, so you feed your goats paint, do you? Has your goat turned yellow yet? You can ask Mel all about that one.
And up next is Shady and Alyssa.
You're right there.
Shade Sir, the man, the myth, the legend, Shady. Okay, it's not that bright in here.
Alyssa, we do have wine glasses here, but if you got any champagne, I'll take some. And who do we got up next? Darren and Rochelle. Oh man.
Day Ron, here's a new one for you. How's the weather up there?
Rochelle, we said come swiftly, not swifter.
Oh, and here comes Billy and Tanya.
Woo! Ton, what are you doing here so early? We didn't expect you till dessert.
Billy, chill out, my guy. We got our own videographer.
You're off duty tonight.
Halfway there, oh, and the list goes on.
Who do we got next?
Mandy?
Mandy and Manny, dude. Pull it together. Oh, that's what it was. Let's go. Woo!
Sunzo Gunzo. Not those guns, these guns.
Mother Mandy, twin of Tanya. The knockoff version of Tanya. 2.0. Woo!
Who's next?
Caleb and Bree. Ta-da!
Hey, Manny. Caleb got the clue. Sunzo Gunzo, baby.
Bree, what are you doing? Bree, that's a bald spot, not a smudge. Sorry, Papa.
Sarah and Laura.
Woo! Who let the dogs out?
Let's go.
Okay, last and least of all, we got ourselves Rachel and Moneymaker.
This guy's name is David, but who cares about that? His name is Moneymaker. Wait. Moneymaker, you dropped a 20.
Rachel, we hear from a reliable source that you have more vacation days than work days. Making some competition for Becky or just partner in crime?
And without further ado, let's get to the real stuff. Testing. Coming from a world far, far away, like Texas, we welcome you, Bitch and Ricky. Ricky and Bitch.
No. Rich and Becky. Woo! Everyone give it up!
With 20 businesses under his belt and 20 curling irons under her belt, these people have quite the quiet, peaceful, relaxed life. Well, when you book with Becky, yes, book. If you can. You're looking at, summer of 2025? She does, however, she has an opening in June 7, I believe, for an hour.
Becky has accomplished many things in her life. She even gained the title of the biggest mooch off of her parents' money. Ask her Candelia how reserved she is through the drive-thru when they are paying. She is the top nail polish painter at 2 old age homes, the fastest wheelchair pusher, and the quickest oxygen tank attacher. Becky hasn't seen the world. It's more like the world has seen Becky. Her last country on her place is yet to be is what? North Korea?
Becky, when you get there, let me know. Just shoot a message or a missile. Richie, on the other hand, does not have much more time on his hands between wrestling cattle, drinking cobra venom in Texas, dodging shootouts in LA, choosing which watch to wear, screwing screws into the ground, screwing advertisements to trailers, supplying and selling screws. It's a lot of screws. Richie hasn't seen the world. The world has seen Richie. Richie has lived in every country in the world. What's his last country to visit? North Korea? Sounds familiar. Together they shall populate the earth, sprinkling kids in every corner of the world. His preferred vehicle is the Tesla truck. If you didn't know or didn't see it, your eyes are pure.
Okay, well now that roll call is over, we're going to call up the bride and groom to formally introduce everyone else.
Buckle up, buttercups.
Here we go. We're in for a long ride.
Here goes. We'll start. Can you just stand up maybe when I call your name, and then I'll give you the introductions. I'm going to start with Rach. Stand on up. Yeah. Rach, it's been a hot minute now, I think, and I'm ready to book the next trip, or actually the next 3 vacations with you, please. If we go broke over our vacations, that's okay, because they say memories are worth $1 million, right? So we'll have nothing to be worried about. You're a friend that goes way back to the beginning, through school, camping with our families, overnight trips, adventurous nights, Europe, Mexico, California, Florida, New York, etc. Goes on. We've made so many memories, and I always get stuck in the weirdest situations with you, like mini putting off the top of garbage cans or almost plowing people over as we fly to shore on our catamaran, or driving down sidewalks in Europe. I didn't know you're not supposed to drive down sidewalks, but anyways, in our rented car, let's just say. God couldn't have given me a better sidekick through my 25 years of living. Sorry.
We'll start with Dave. I'm going to start with David. Money Dave. There you go. I only met David a few years ago when he and Anna started coming to my church in LA. We became fast friends, and shortly after meeting him, I was attending his wedding with Anna. You sure looked sharp in your Marine uniform, David, and I'm proud of your desire to serve. As seems to happen with a lot of my friends, we were soon working together, and I have to say, you sure made time at the office a lot livelier. David and Anna, you were both there for me, day after day, when I was going through some pretty hard times over the last few years. I'm sure it was a lot of fun to be around. David even used some of his boot camp experience to kick my butt into shape. I actually blacked out the first time I was trying to keep up with him. Your dedication means a lot, and you'll both always have a special place in my heart. I appreciate you guys.
Laura. Oh, have you been trying to talk this whole time? As the youngest child, she often feels like she's been trying to compete to get her words in edgewise, and that no one ever listens to Laura. Laura, I've loved our chats and singing at the top of our lungs on every drive to school. Thanks for all the nights we've spent together getting fat off all that chocolate and popcorn while watching the cheesiest chick flicks. We all know that I won't be doing that much in Texas, unfortunately. So I'm glad I could get a large dose of that with you. With a pack of dogs and a flock of chickens, and now goats coming, actually, on its way, it's getting pretty hard to dodge all your animals. So from now on, I think I'll just stay indoors and cuddle little James. It's been great seeing you as a new mom.
Sarah. I've gotten super close with my little sister Sarah over the past few years because it turns out we're pretty similar. Sarah's always up for a good adventure and has even joined me on a few crazy hikes. I love her can-do attitude, even in the face of storms on the mountaintop or trudging through 6-foot deep snow. Her sense of humor is maybe a little too much like mine, and every time I come home to visit, things get a little silly and carried away. Whether we're kangaroo fighting or just laughing at silly videos. Sarah wanted to be like me so much, she got herself a long-distance relationship, just like I did. Certainly not the easiest way to date, but it works, and I hope for the best for the two of you.
Bree. Neat freak. Despite 3 munchkins, nothing touches the floor. No fingerprint stays longer than a second. No dust particle has a chance to land. Bree, the varnish on your table is supposed to stay on. You don't gotta scrub that off. Somehow growing up, we shared a room. And to say the least, it looks like a tornado hit the house whenever I enter. As opposite as we are, I have some awesome memories from then, and Bree, you are the most giving person I know. I look up to you for your servant's heart, and thank you for always being one of the first people to be there for me.
Caleb. Caleb and I went to school together, but are a few years apart, so we never really knew each other until we started working together a few years ago. We quickly became friends and have gone on a lot of work trips together. He and his wife Emily even let me tag along on their trip to Italy after a work meeting in Germany. I mean, who doesn't want me tagging along on their de facto honeymoon? I look forward to going on more trips like that now that I'm married, and maybe a bit less of a third wheel. Caleb and I are the butt of a few office jokes because apparently it's weird that we work together all day, hang out together all night, hike together all weekend, then share a hotel room, sometimes a bed. At night, I don't know, whatever, it's not weird. Although the last hotel putting us down as Mr. Caleb and Mrs. Richard on the company invoice, that didn't help the office jokes. As I'm sure everyone knows, Caleb does his best to be a bad influence on me, but don't worry, I keep him on the straight and narrow. Although sometimes he can't handle it, so I just pretend to call it an early night and I sneak out without him. He doesn't let me live that one down.
All right, Ton. My personality twin, my confidant, my state neighbor now. If you ever get bored of your flat little flyover state, come on up, like Oklahoma. She lives in Oklahoma, anyone who doesn't know that? Y'all can come down south to Texas where everything's bigger and better. Dawn is raising 3 little cute clowns who try to be princesses, but were born and raised by the classiness of her and Rich. Yeah, if anyone that doesn't know them, they're not so classy, let's just say. If there's anyone who hasn't met her yet, let's just make you aware that within 5 seconds, you'll be in the middle of a very deep conversation, or she'll be saying something very inappropriate. She wasn't born with a filter, which is very dangerous, but definitely keeps life interesting.
Manny. It's a little difficult to explain my relationship with Manny. I suppose mentor and friend come close, but like with all things with Manny, it's a little more complicated than that. All I know is he's never afraid to tell me hard truths, and he's my first phone call when things go wrong. His perceptive abilities are a little scary, and there's been more than one time I've had to look back and utter the dreaded phrase, "Shoot, Manny was right." You've shown me a different side to life, Manny, and I appreciate that. I wouldn't be who I am without you today.
Mandy. The knockoff version of Ton. No, I'm kidding. She's a twin, in case any of you don't know that. Man, say yes if you hear me. It's a classic line of hers while being Mother Mandy. She got lots of practice on us when we were younger, but is now actually like the most perfect mother to her 4 kids. I look up to you for the mother that you are, and Mandy, you are such a sweetheart through and through. And your heart of gold shines through when I need someone to talk to. Mandy has the perfect tilted head and the eye twinkle and just the best listening ear.
Billy. Billy's been one of my best friends since kindergarten. We would go to each other's house as many Sunday lunches as we were allowed, and then those afternoons inevitably ended up in big fights. Every single time. However, by the next week, we were begging to hang out again. Even though I've moved away, I can always count on a phone call from Billy, and whether there's good news or bad news to talk about. It's fun to see you become a dad, Bill. I know you'll be great.
Rochelle. The killer of all living things. She's great. She just kills everything. Started with the plants she had, then her pet fish. Josh, it's great to see you alive. We'll see if the bunny stays alive too. One thing on her side is that she helped me survive what we called Death Day, which were 12-hour days in college, where our friendship started and has grown ever since. Rochelle is the perfect balance of blonde and goofy, and she's a hoot to be around. And when I'm around her, I never stop laughing.
Darren. Another amazing new dad. And, of course, another member of the Yaya Cafe Chat with Billy. We've been friends for a long time, and I'm just glad I'm not the short, skinny kid I used to be. I'm sure we looked like quite the pair back in the day. You had to have been at least double my height at some point. It's always great getting back together with you guys when I'm down, and you have to come down to the U.S. again to visit.
All right, Liz. Liz is a super mom of 2 incredible cute kids who manages to be in full-time nursing school and still has to fit in wine dates with me. Liz, I can think back to our grade 12 year and giggle at so many things, especially us trying to survive off the land a couple days in the dead of winter. Got me prepared for today, actually. While trying to kill a squirrel for our supper to roast over a fire that we couldn't start. We definitely had big imaginations and high expectations with very poor delivery in many of the cases, but we did always have fun doing it.
Shady. You probably wouldn't guess it, but Shady and I actually first bonded over chanting, "Build the wall," at a youth group event in LA. Being the only 2 foreigners in the room, we thought we were pretty funny. Having both recently moved to LA, sharing a similar sense of humor, we bonded quickly and have been on a few good adventures together, like accidentally off-roading through the desert in my truck. Shady swears I almost killed him. And even a few gold mining trips. Sorry I wasn't so helpful warning you when to duck, Shady. Always 2 seconds after you smacked your pack on something. Shady is one of the hardest workers I know, always busy with a double load of work and school. I mean, who gets their master's in business while working full-time as an engineer? Shady is also a skilled athlete and even a great dancer. Sorry we aren't having a dance here tonight, Shady. It just wouldn't be right for you to humiliate this many stiff Dutch people all at once.
Mel. One of the original Quack Pack members. A valuable member at that. She seems to be a sweet little angel, but behind that twinkle of her eye, there is a wild child who has the biggest, wildest ideas. Let's just say that we weren't ever invited back to Ariana's birthdays. For a very good reason. She's a sweetheart, though, who is able to have the best heart-to-hearts, and I look up to her for her wisdom and the way she always looks to God, even through the tough times. Mel, I'm so excited to see you as a new mother.
Wes. I think my real friendship with Wes, and Ty for that matter, started by goofing off in high school together. We antagonized a few teachers, who I won't name, and we've been hanging out ever since. Wes taught me to hunt, and even taught me a lot about framing, first in the summers that we worked for Hino together, then once we worked together in our own little construction company at night. Glad to have you in the family, Wes, and I'm excited to meet the first Otten grandchild.
Tash. You are the sweetest, nicest, most perfect saint on this side of earth. I loved doing college with you and getting to know you even better over the years. Whether it was you flying into the closet during a horror movie, seeing your competitive side come out during games, or just the many chats we've had. I'm so excited for you and Thomas as your soon-to-be parents. But just be warned, Auntie Becky is going to come over and teach them that nachos are actually tacos. Tacos, should I say. Tacos, like all the Beakies call it.
Ty. Like I said, I first started really hanging out with Ty, causing trouble in high school, where Wes and I were always where Wes was always egging us on in the background. Ty and I were the loud commotion causers. I'm not going to try one today, but I still remember doing exaggerated Coach Hines kicks and screaming references in class. I can hardly believe that guy is now the dad of 3 little girls and running a company. Don't let that fool you, though. He hasn't completely grown up, and we go to the cabin every once in a while just to be reminded of that.
Jordan. Jordan is engaged to my brother. I wish you all the best. I'm so excited for you to join our family. You fit in so well. I will say that sharing a room with you at the cottage has been great, minus all the talking you did in your sleep and almost flying out the window trying to win a game that wasn't happening at 3 a.m. With hairspray spraying and scissors scissoring, she's a stiff competition in that hairdo industry. You're killing it in the hair world. Love you lots.
And Johnny. Being Becky's brother, you'd think Johnny would be the one guy in the group that I haven't known for very long, but that's not really true. I have many fond memories of little Johnny, the rambunctious little kid, always getting into trouble, then giggling as everyone else groans. I guess the only way that's really changed is that little Johnny isn't so little anymore. It's been fun getting to know the adult version of little Johnny. You sure make everything a lot of fun. As the last two kids left to get married, you and Becky must have been spending all your time plotting just how to join the Otten family. I'm excited you'll be marrying an Otten next spring and look forward to celebrating you with you then.
That's it, guys. We're done.
Shall we pray together? Most holy and merciful God in heaven, we come to Thee thanking Thee for another day that we may live, another day that we are called to live unto Thy honor and glory. And we ask, Lord, that in this special day that Thou hast given unto us, to Richie and Becky, we thank Thee that Thou hast brought them together and that they may be bound together in this day in holy matrimony. Lord, we ask Thy blessing upon their married life, that they may walk together with Thee, and that Thy name may always be in their hearts, in their minds, and in their speech. That Thou, Lord, may remember also each and every one of us, that we may be prepared to meet Thee in peace, and that we may know Thee while there is time, grace, and salvation. Lord, we ask Thy blessing also upon this meal. We ask that Thou would give us also strength from the food that we have eaten, and that we may give Thee the honor and the glory. We live in a land of plenty, insomuch that so seldom do we really appreciate what we have. But Lord, wilt Thou look down upon us in mercy and remember the poor, and wilt Thou give unto them to know that they are rich in Jesus Christ, and that we may also live in Him, knowing that He came for the poor and needy in spirit. That Thou, Lord, may remember us in mercy, keep us under Thy care, and forgive all our many sins. We ask this for Jesus' sake alone. Amen.
Alrighty, I hope everyone's listening really careful because I'm sure this is going to be a very short speech. I am known for speaking very shortly. Always a woman of few words. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, not too many people can say that they've had a lifelong friend, but that's exactly what Becky and I are. We have not only been friends, but best friends since pretty much day one. Since our families were close, went to the same church and the same school, Becky and I grew up spending at least 6 days a week at each other's sides. In the early days, we would do everything together, from making sure we were coloring our letters the same color in kindergarten, to sitting on the same mat for story time, to even having the first same crush. Right, Caleb? Things didn't change too much over the years as we grew older. We would still sit together every chance we could and spend every recess all by ourselves just walking around the field. It was in those early days I realized just how lucky I was to have a girl like Becky as my best friend. She was more loyal than anything. Me, being my typical loudmouth, stubborn self, would start picking fights and making arguments with all the other kids on the bus ride to school. Then when we would finally arrive at school, Becky would be there patiently waiting to take my side, no questions asked. It didn't matter that I was probably in the wrong, or that it was typically me against all of Becky's cousins. Becky was my friend and she was on my side. And at my side she stayed. From high school gym class, now I know this may come as a shocker, but it turns out neither Becky and I are runners. And gym was not a good subject for us. We would play defense in soccer just so we could stand in one spot together talking. And then I developed sports asthma, where every run would turn into a wheezing fest until I couldn't breathe anymore. This meant I got out of running for track and field practices. And Becky, my faithful sidekick, somehow managed to convince the teacher that I needed company and got out of running herself. I don't know how we managed to get that to fly, but probably the teacher took one look at us and knew running was not part of our futures. As we grew up, our characters did change a little from each other, but no matter what, Becky and I were determined to stay best friends. We knew that whatever else in life changed, this would never. And so with our characters being different, we learned our friendship was best when we would bargain and make deals so we would each get our way. Every summer for a week, as long as I can remember, our families would go camping. And while we always had a blast and spent every minute together, Becky and I spent our day in 10-minute intervals. Okay, if I lay on the beach in the hot, itchy sand with you for 10 minutes, then you have to come swimming with me for 10 minutes. Or okay, if you come biking with me, then we can practice makeup on each other like you want to do. And so on, all week long. Still, it was the best week of the year, and we loved it. As the years went on, we started spending the nights with Mel and Bree in a tent, and the four of us were immediate friends. Sure, there were a few challenging nights when Mel and Bree would pull the older sister card on us and leave Becky and I feeling like we weren't just quite as valued in the group as we had thought. Yes, I am thinking of the time when each friend group got an air mattress, but we knew one was probably going to go soft. So the four of us made a deal. We were going to switch air mattresses every night so that things were fair. Well, Mel and Bree got that popped air mattress the first night, and it not only leaked, it went completely flat on them, waking them up at 1 a.m. The first thing they did was wake Becky and I, who were having the most blissful sleep of our lives, and told us, "Get off our mattress." Confused, trying to get our bearings, we argued this was not the deal we had signed up for. But they told us since it was technically the next day, we had to get off. Having no choice due to the size difference between the two age groups, it ended with Becky and I crawling back to the camper, finding whatever pillow scraps we could to get sleep the rest of the week on. Still, we loved our nights together, and our friendship only grew stronger. The four of us developed into the Quack Pack, and in high school we'd often grab a tent, head out to the field by the river, and spend the night talking about everything under the sun and doing all sorts of adventurous things we will leave unmentioned. Even though Becky and I went to different high schools for our last year, in different college careers we managed to stay friends. Yes, it was a large adjustment not being in each other's lives 6 or 7 days a week, but we managed to keep close. We started hanging out in all our spare time and even began traveling together, from New Jersey to Florida to California to Mexico to Europe and so on. Sometimes people are surprised when they meet us that we're best friends, due to how different Becky and I are. I don't know, something about me being so put together, prim, proper, and Becky, well, completely the opposite. And while we may have some differences, the truth is we're much more similar than everyone thinks. We're both rambunctious, always down for an adventure, and love turning everything into a competition. Even a simple mini putt game will turn into a serious competition where we're standing on garbage cans to take the best shot, and typically ends with one of us standing in the middle of a brook trying to find our lost ball. Another favorite pastime of ours that always ends in a laugh is the game of odds. It doesn't matter that losing most of the time has had Becky, at 23 years old, singing and acting out Twinkle Twinkle Little Star to a poor mom and her son on the beach. Or sitting in the middle of a group of strangers having to do what Becky calls yoga. She still loves it. To her, it's all worth it when I occasionally lose and have to do something like walk off a ferry in front of 200 people wearing flippers on my feet for shoes, as if it's an everyday occurrence. Beck, I look forward to where future trips may take us and the new memories we'll create. Rich, all this is to show you how lucky you are. You have found a wife who will always love you, is the most loyal person I know, and will be down for any adventure. She is kind, loving, and the most genuine-hearted person I know. Little tip, if you want Becky to do something she isn't thrilled about, turn it into a competition. She'll give it her all. I'm so happy you and Becky have found each other. You two suit each other perfectly, and I can't wait to see your marriage grow. Now, for those of you who don't know this, Rich and I often get told we have the same humor, similar characters, and only we find our jokes the funniest. And so, Rich, I would also like to say, you're welcome. You're welcome for sticking by Becky's side her whole life. So she got used to this extra energy and jokes, and she even grew to love them. We both know that you're a certain type of extra, and her, being so used to me, probably can't even see it at this point. I mean, who else would glaze over the fact that on the everyday you trip over everything, spill anything, and I've even seen you walk straight into a light post in broad daylight. Seriously, Rich, you are a fantastic older brother, and I have nothing but love and respect for you. Growing up, you would always play with me and Mel, either being dad in the house or letting us come build forts and whatnot with you. Even when you grew up, I don't remember you being too cool for your little sisters. We were always playing games with you, even though they typically ended in fights. And you even let us hang out with your friends in high school, probably due to the fact that Mel and Wes liked each other. When you moved away, things changed, and we missed spending every day with our older brother. The only thing I didn't miss was the fact that I stopped getting beat up in the back seat of the van on the drive to church, always ending with me in tears. Your visits back are a highlight, and I don't think there's another time our family laughs so hard, acts so silly, and spends every second together we can. Becky, our friendship is about to undergo another period of adjustments, as you will no longer be 15 minutes away from me, but rather spending half your time in Texas until you move out there full time. Please know I'm always just a phone call away and plan to visit often. We have dreamed since we were little girls of who you would marry and what life would look like. And now, here we are on the verge of seeing all these dreams come true. I couldn't love who you picked as a husband more. And I know no matter what your future brings, you will always be my best friend and now my sister. So let's all raise a glass to the new Mr. and Mrs.
So, I haven't known Becky for very long, and I didn't think we had much in common, but turns out we do. Believe it or not, Caleb was my first crush, too. Look at him. No, I apologize because Usually I don't drone on like I'm about to. I'm about to take some time, but Rich came up to me. He said, I'm a little nervous about tonight. Just stall as much as you can. So I don't know what's up with that, but might take a bit. So bear with us. So I'm David. I am evidently Rich's best man. It's kind of like having the nicest house in Dunville. I don't know what that joke means at all. But it's kind of nice to feel like I'm a part of something. So I'm not Dutch, but I've been living with the Dutch for about a week now. Made some observations. I had sort of an idea in my head about what y'all might be like, some stereotypes, and they're not true. Everyone has been nothing but warm and kind and mirthful and generous. And Rich is my best friend, and this is his special night, and I can't take this time turning it into a bunch of cheap jokes. So anyway. Rich kind of stole some of my lines. He covered some of the points that I was going to hit. But yeah, Rich and I have known each other for about 4 years now. We met at church, and he was the first person actually to invite my wife Anna and I over, which is a big deal for us. We're not, very outgoing people. We were friends from that point. We saw a good amount of each other, friendly terms. But it was about 2 years ago when I started working for him that we became very close. So everyone take a look at him. He's got a stupid grin on his face, probably. But believe it or not, he had some, rough days back then. And walking through that together was the catalyst for a very deep bond. So before I can talk to you about this couple that you all know as a couple much more than I do and have known for their whole lives, I have to talk to you about what Richard means to me. So Richard is my brother. In the Christian sense, we know what that means, right? That's objectively true. He's my spiritual brother. And in the worldly sense, it's kind of trite, right? Lots of people talk about how their friends are like siblings because they're very close. But I really mean Rich is like my brother. My brother and I, so Rich is the oldest of 6. I'm the youngest of 2. I know, pathetic numbers, right? But it is what it is. So my brother Jack and I, right? I grew up just loving and detesting him. I was always tagging along with him, always wanted to be with him, always fighting him, always wanted to impress him or outdo him or be just like him but like a little bit different. And he just drove me nuts. Well, several years ago, my brother was serving overseas and some, traumatic stuff happened, and it really changed his outlook on life. Gave him a really negative outlook for a long time. And in fact, it changed my life too. Changed a lot of the decisions that I made. And it certainly put a strain on our relationship. So a couple months ago, he got married, and I stood up as his best man, and I had to speak to his friends and family about what he meant to me. And I found it very difficult to talk about our relationship without that context of negative stuff that had happened to him. And nobody wants to put undue focus on something negative on a happy day. But the takeaway there was that the things that he had been through and the way he had overcome it is what I admired about him. And I stood up there and I told everybody that my brother Jack is my hero. So Rich drives me nuts, all right? He's stubborn. See, Manny knows him better than I do. He's stubborn, and he's very sure of himself. So one time we went skiing, right? We went skiing in the Sierra Nevadas, just the two of us. And we get to the lift, and I say, don't you have any goggles or sunglasses or anything? He says, what for? And I say, well, snow blindness. Like the snow reflects off the sun, burns your retinas, bad deal, right? He says, buddy, I've been skiing my whole life, never worn glasses, not an issue. I say, well, we're a lot higher up here than we are in Buffalo, so UV index is a little higher. You might want to wear glasses. He says, buddy, I know what I'm doing. So I say, okay, very well. We go skiing all day. Next day we go skiing all day. Next day we drive home, right? 7-hour drive. Rich drives the whole way. Doesn't let me touch his truck. Next day after that, I go into work. His eyes are a little red, a little puffy. What's up with your eyes, Rich? So I'm going to be honest with you. I couldn't see at all the whole drive home. Stubborn, drives me nuts, right? But he is a steady and faithful friend. So another time, we're in New York City. We're eating, had a little wine, got on the subway. Conversation led one thing to another. And suddenly I'm realizing that I need to open up to him as my good friend about some stuff, some deep stuff, heavy on my heart, painful stuff. And I'm not going to get into detail because I don't want to embarrass Rich, and I certainly don't want to embarrass myself. But we weren't exactly like the paragon of rugged manliness at that point. But Rich stood by me, and he comforted me, and we talked through things for as long as it took, even though it made us late for dinner at Uncle Glenn and Aunt Kathy's. And if you know my reputation, you know that is not a position you want to be in. But Rich is a faithful friend. He's kind, and he's steadfast, and that's what a brother is, and that's what a husband needs to be. So Rich teaches me things that I'm usually like a little embarrassed that I didn't know already, things that I never thought I'd have the opportunity to learn, and sometimes things I didn't want to know. But I look at him, and I see how steady he is. I see that he's a man of action. I see how consistent he is, and it makes me want to be a better man, better Christian, better husband, better brother. So I wasn't lying a couple months ago. My brother Jack is my best friend, but my brother Richard is a man that I want to be. Becky. Hey, Becky. Look at you. You look incredible. Look at her, Rich. Look at her. Fat chance you had, right, buddy? So, a ways back now, Rich shows me this picture on his phone of this girl, right? Absolute dime. If you don't know what that is, it's like 14 cents Canadian. So, I say, hey, you should probably ask her out on a date. And he says, no way, that's my sister's best friend. Okay, you know what you're doing. A couple months go by, she doesn't come up again, and he's telling me about his last trip home, right? Went to this great conference, I heard some guy named Joel talk, and reconnected with some old friends. One friend in particular, say it's probably that Becky girl, huh? I don't know what you're talking about. Shortly after that, I leave. I go on a long trip. I haven't talked to Rich in a couple months at this point, actually. And we finally have time for a call. And we're catching up. And I can feel that the conversation is sort of driving at something. Like he's got an agenda here. And he finally gets to it and he says, guess what? And I say, you're going on a date with Becky, huh? He says, how'd you know? Yeah. Every guy shows his buddy pictures of that pretty girl that he's so happy to be friends with, right? So he's all excited about this date, and honestly, you all probably know the history from that point better than I do. But I think I jumped to conclusions faster than Richard's Oma did. I knew from that point, it was on. These two, they were getting married. So Becky, you're a gem, an absolute gem, and you've absolutely ruined Richard. He's all smiles and long phone calls, like really long phone calls, and buying flowers on the way to her house, and he doesn't even wear cargo shorts anymore. Do you know how convenient it is to have a friend with extra pockets? And he's so flirty. You guys flirt, and frankly, it's disgusting. But it makes me happy, and here's to many more years of you disgusting everyone around you. No. You guys thought, right? Well, you thought wrong. So Becky and I, we really haven't had that much time to get to know each other. I've cherished the time that we have had. But before, this last week or so, I only really met her once. She came out to LA, and Anna and I got to hang out with her. And she was Becky, right? She's super polite and thoughtful and nice. But we didn't get that much time to get to know her. The other night, we're at the Beaky's house and we're playing games, and I was on the other team from Becky, and I made some move that she didn't like. She called, and Rick won. That's the important part. So, to Rich and Becky. So I made some move that Becky doesn't like, and she said, you might not believe this, but she called me a really nasty name. You wouldn't believe it. So Rick and Dill, maybe a better job. Or actually, that's your job now. So she called me a really nasty name, and immediately she started to backpedal and try to apologize, right? But in my family growing up, that is how we showed that we loved each other, right? You're polite to outsiders, but you just rip on those that you love. So Becky, I hope that you're never polite to me again. And I truly mean that. Becky, you are so kind and thoughtful, like more thoughtful than I realized. Like when I realized the work that went into just this wedding, this is just like a small part of what you do, and how I kept asking for a job, and you never gave me a job, right? Everything went off without a hitch. You're just on it. Smart as a whip. And I see the way that you take care of Richard, that you support him, and that you point him to Christ, and I'm so thankful for you. So Rich has always been there for me and Anna, and I need you to know that you have the same from us. As you tabernacle amongst the Texans, I know that you have all these people here, but I need you to know that you also have people in California. And if you ever need to get to a beach that's not covered in crude oil, you know where to look. And finally, to the Beakies and to Ed and Nita and the girls, we've been so blessed by the hospitality and the love and the warmth that you've shown. I don't want to be too forward, but I really feel that we're family. And I'm so blessed by the piety that you brought your kids up in and that you've taught them to fear the Lord. And we know that that's not a guarantee of any sort of outcome, but in the case of these two, we all get to witness the fruit of what you've done in their marriage and the children that they're going to raise. So I thank you for that. So finally, I'd like to be a little selfish and share something that I want to share at my wedding. It's traditional to end in a toast, but I have something that I think this crowd is going to like even more. And that's an excerpt from a Puritan commentary. But it works pretty good as a toast, too. It's from Matthew Henry, who is apparently sweeter than anybody could possibly give him credit for. And it's a charge to Richard and to all the husbands in the room. So, here's my drink. Be careful. Did that die? Can you guys hear me? That just died. I talk too much, yeah. She's right. She got me. Don't worry, like 10 more minutes and then I'm done. All right, here we go. Be careful if you make a woman cry, because God counts her tears. Woman was made out of a rib out of the side of Adam, not out of his head to rule over him, or out of his feet to tread upon him, but out of his side to be equal with him, under his arm to be protected, and near his heart to be beloved. So to Richard and Becky the Ottens, everyone rise to class.
I just want to thank you all for coming out to celebrate this special day for Richie and Becky as they celebrate their wedding. We love you all. We thank you for your support, and we covet your prayers for them. Thank you to Pastor Brian for conducting the wedding. And also thank you to Pastor Peter for the wedding message. I would just like to take this time to confirm that Becky is my daughter, even though I told you that she was not. And Pastor Peter came into my door store and he came in to introduce himself. I have a secretary, her name is Becca. "Hello," says Pastor Peter. I thought he was a potential customer. "You must be Becky's dad." "No," I said confidently. He looked confused, "But you just look just like him." "No," I replied. I am not Rebecca's dad. In my mind, I was thinking Becca's dad is Rodney, and I don't look like Rodney. Well, it ends up I am Becky's dad. No one really knows me, but everyone knows Becky Beaky. Everyone at Shalom and everyone related to those at Shalom, and also those from every Reformed church circle and from all other church circles related to those Reformed people, and throughout all the various circles that all these people and all their families, they all know or have known or have heard about, like Becky Beaky. Maybe it's her name, has a certain ring about it. Maybe she really does know that many people, but whatever it is, she's friends with all. And I'm her dad. And this is her mom.
Becky, I can hardly believe your wedding day has arrived. You were so organized and ready, I hardly noticed a family wedding was on its way. Rebecca, you were a sweet little beautiful bundle when you arrived 25 years ago. We loved you instantly as you joined the other 3 daughters. The odds of Dad ever having a boy were being stacked against him. But he loved you girls like crazy and was super excited to have you join his family of little girls. Also, as a note, when we picked your beautiful name, Rebecca, we didn't dream it would be shortened to Becky Beaky. It seems like only yesterday you were a tiny little girl who couldn't make it up the bus steps on your first day of school. You were a cute little thing, always an observer, watching what others were doing, not always wanting to participate, hanging upside down on the couch chair or on the bed as you watched. And you were also a very independent girl. If the kids wanted to play house, you wanted to color. And if they wanted to go outside, you definitely wanted to play inside. And if everybody wanted Kraft dinner for lunch, you would ask for grilled cheese. We eventually named you Downside Up Akbar because you always wanted to do everything upside down, backwards, or opposite.
Becky Beaky is going to miss Shalom. She took her recreation job seriously. She was a recreation therapist. What is a recreation therapist? When I looked recreation in the dictionary, which I did, it's an activity done when one is not working. And therapist, I looked up, is a person skilled in this particular area. So, Becky, so Becky is skilled in an activity done while not working. So funny. And I heard from everyone at Shalom that she's really good at it. Becky claims that she works hard. How is it that Becky's car is always in the driveway when I leave so early for work, and her car is always in the driveway when I come home so late for work? Despite all this, Becky will always claim that she works harder than me. Dad, I put more hours in than you. She did not mention her numerous trips: Germany, California, France, Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas. And all these trips to Becky, everything is a competition. Everything is a game. Everything is a challenge. Seriously, she must win, and she will. Becky Beakey is very competitive. In fact, when she is competing, she is having the most fun. Becky loved her job. So many times she has told me, "I love my job, and Dad, I even get paid for it."
Beck, your passion and love for seniors goes above and beyond anyone I know. You care so deeply for each resident on your floor at Shalom. You want each one to enjoy their life, to smile, to laugh. Remember you coming home to say, "I'm going to buy some material. I have a lady on my floor that used to be a seamstress. I think she'd love to sew. I'll bring my sewing machine in." And sure enough, you followed through and she loved it. You came home to tell us you had a new man on your floor. He used to be a farmer and he's always asking me what he can do to help me. I think I'll get an incubator with some eggs and he can watch the chicks hatch and take care of them. I think this will make him happy. And again, you made it happen, and another resident was exceptionally happy. Over the years, and especially through COVID, they were family to you. You gave them haircuts, wheelchair travel, barbecues, piñatas, Dutch pancakes, games, competition, a listening ear, a hand to hold. You have such compassion for each individual resident. You gave your heart to your residents, and they were always such a blessing to you. I know you are sad you had to say goodbye to them all, and I'm sure they feel the same way. But I know you're also excited to see what God has in store for you and Richie, and we are happy along with you.
I love you for this, Becky. I figured it out. You don't work harder than me. You just have more fun at work than me. And you are better at your job than me. You are more successful, and you won.
When I think of a few words to describe you, Becky, I would pick committed, busy, and passionate. Because you're always up to something, always visiting, helping, creating. You commit to something, you go in 150%. Youth group fundraising committee for Right to Life, making an escape room, a fundraiser which we all said was impossible, and you made it happen. Helping siblings or friends with their houses or weddings, always eager to lend a helping hand. I just never really figured out how to channel that energy into cleaning your room. Your passion for God and the gospel and His love is so obvious in your life in all ways. You have always had a passion for hair. Starting up your hair business, such a great idea. It was growing in leaps and bounds because you're truly talented. I'm super excited you will be keeping your Hairstyles by Becky B business, because this will bring you back to us often, and we look forward to each and every visit. Dear Richie, we welcome you to our family. You kind of always were a part of our family because our families were such good friends. We used to camp together for many summers, the Ottens and the Beakeys as two families. 6 little Otten kiddos and 6 little Beakeys and 4 young parents, 16 in total, off to the beach with towels and baskets and playpens, a barbecue, umbrellas, beach shovel, not like small, normal, regular sand shovels, full out spades. Comfy, large size, zero gravity chairs, which you can ask my kids how heavy they were. Beach loungers, food, more coolers of food, and we pulled it all across the sand to the lake in a toboggan, along with the help from our littles. We would build for sandcastles for hours, making so many good memories. We literally took over the beach, rain or shine. After all, when it was raining, we literally had the whole beach to ourselves.
Richie, you were just a little guy. We called you Sam, skinny, scrawny. And we took dollar store makeup and drew glasses on you and a beard and some hair on your chest. We tried to make you a man. On rainy days, all you kids would sit in the van at the campsite till the windows dripped with steam and condensation, listening to Down Gilead Lane for hours. And after it all, it rained almost every camping trip. It's hard to believe. Back then, I was Uncle Rick, and now, crazy to believe, Richie, your glasses are gone. You're not so scrawny. You have real chest on your hair.
Chest on.
Oh, hair on your chest. And I can't read. And you're married to my daughter, which means you get to call me Dad. Richie, we welcome you to our family.
All right, we're not speech makers, just farmers, so bear with us. 29 years ago, on December 4th, 1993, we, fairly much newlywed, were blessed with our first child, a son, born right on his due date. I never saw a prouder man than when Dad went to Opa and Oma's for breakfast that day to tell them he had become a father. But being a first child made you, Richard, a guinea pig for a lot of things. I mean, we had never raised, taught, or disciplined a child of our own before. And looking at other families, it all looked so easy. Well, with God's help and learning many things the hard way, both for us and you, we started the parenting thing and never stopped.
Richard's childhood went fairly smoothly. He was a cute kid with a slick comb-over. He was up walking by 10 months and was having tractor rides with me before the age of 2. It wasn't long before Richard became a big brother to a whole lineup of sisters. He had to play a lot of house with them, but of course he always got to be the dad, driving and playing tractor everywhere, practicing for when he got big.
Soon, it was time for Richard to start school. Schoolwork came fairly easy to him. Teaching Richard his memory work and alphabet rhymes were done with me sitting on the couch, feeding one of his sisters, and Richard walking around and around the coffee table, reciting his memory work. We noticed that habit stuck, as now when he comes home and has business calls to make, he circles the kitchen island. Although Richard could memorize well, he was very forgetful in the everyday things. We tried everything from punishments to awards to agendas to reminder notes, but it was all to no avail. I think he cost his grade 3 and 4 class all their popcorn parties. Richard was also very independent growing up. I was never allowed to look at his work, help on any project, proofread anything. It was his work, and he did it on his own. A little hard for an overachiever mom.
Growing up on the farm provided many opportunities for both work and play. Being farmers, we did all our own work, from farming, framing, doing plumbing, electrical, fixing equipment, and welding, etc. Richard always enjoyed learning a new skill. By the age of 11, Richard could babysit 5 sisters, feed pigs, drive tractor, even install all the lights and electrical outlets in the house we were renovating.
We had joined the HRC church here in Jordan when Richard was 3, and soon became very good friends with Rick and Delia Beakey. In fact, we camped every year with their family for all of Richard's childhood And today, our friendship with them even includes special family ties.
Richard, you learned to water ski at a young age and soon mastered slalom skiing, pyramid skiing, wakeboarding, and later, of course, you got into scuba diving. You not only did this up north, but fine-tuned your skills in the river behind our house. In the winter months, you cut lots of firewood, enjoyed tobogganing, downhill skiing, GTing, behind the snowmobile, four-wheeling, and playing hockey on the frozen pool. Many Sunday lunches found you and Billy playing hockey in our playroom with mini sticks. At least I think you called it playing, even though often sounded more like war. We also enjoyed family trips together to out east, California, and out west. These trips involved lots of driving together in close quarters while enjoying the scenic coastal routes, and of course, taking time to stop to see lots of farming.
Richard was an entrepreneur from a young age. While in his younger years at school, Richard would collect old broken pens. He would then repair them and sell his fixed-up pens for 25 cents each, making him his first hard-earned dollars. He later, through Billy, sold puppies. He had cheap labor at home, paying his sisters for cleaning up after and feeding his dogs daily. When Richard entered high school, he was the smallest and shortest kid in the class. This means you have to act a little cool to keep fitting in. While playing sports at lunchtime, Richard would take a certain teacher's water bottle and take a big swig from it, grossing out the teacher. But this teacher knew how to outsmart her students. One day, just before lunch, she decided to drop a cricket into her water bottle. Richard again glugged down some water while playing hockey. Later that afternoon, there was some commotion happening in class. "Richard, what is going on back there? You need to settle down while I'm teaching." "Yes, ma'am, but I somehow just coughed up a live cricket." Thankfully, this teacher stayed in Richard's good books because today she has become his aunt.
Richard spent a few summers framing and started university after grade 12. After his first semester, Richard decided he wasn't cut out to spend 4 years studying behind a desk. Richard had loved to travel and soon landed himself a job working for iSign under Manny, installing computer monitors in convenience stores all over the country. Billy joined him in one of his trips, allowing him to mix work together with a road trip with his buddy. Not a bad job.
Richard, you have lived away from us for many years now. You have experienced that things don't always go as we imagined and dreamed they would. Life can be hard. What a comfort to know God is always there for us and has given His word to comfort and direct us in all the paths of life. You have also experienced that God becomes very real and precious to us when we need Him so much. In the past few years, Richard has also taken up the sport of mountain climbing. These hikes are like 13 to 22 miles long, taking up to 20 hours to hike. Oma has shared her fear of him often being alone on these hikes, resulting in Richard now having a satellite phone so he can call anytime and Oma can relax a little. We love getting all the updates and enjoy seeing all the sights you share with us from the top of the mountains, especially the pictures of you holding the sign of the mountain with its elevation and you sipping your prized drink box.
Well, Richard, while we can't keep up with all the different jobs you're involved in. You still seem to need to travel a lot. You've been to California, Germany, New York, China, Texas, Costa Rica, and I don't even know where all, but many times you also had meetings close to home, especially this last year. Now, how convenient you were always, no. How convenient you were always, no. There's that. Rick, I got your problem. Can't wait. You always were, no. You were always, well, you are always welcome back, as we love to see you and hear all about your life. But your bedroom at home has downgraded to a mattress stacked in the basement. It's always kind of fun that although we don't know a lot about your work, we seem to know some of your work partners well. One even being an old classmate of Becky's.
Richard and Becky met literally right under our noses. Last year, Richard made a surprise visit home to celebrate my 50th birthday and stayed about 10 days. Everyone in Becky's family had to quarantine during that time, except for Beck. Since she couldn't hang out with her family, Becky visited Rachel many nights during this time. These nights often ended up in the hot tub, talking with whoever was around. Although Rich and Becky knew each other fairly well, this started anew, getting to know each other. Richard got to appreciate Becky for who she really was, a well-rounded girl with a good balance of spunk, humor, and also, and more importantly, a love for the Lord. Becky, we are so happy and thankful that God has brought you into Richard's life. We trust that you feel at home in our family, as you are definitely no stranger to our house, but now as one of our daughters. We see you have the same competitiveness in playing games and the same sense of humor as Richard. You've also completed a hike up a mountain with Richard, although I'm not sure if that's a shared passion.
You are both starting a new chapter in your lives, and we wish you God's blessing. I know, Becky, it will be a little hard to move to Texas, but hopefully getting to live part of the time here as well will make the adjustment easier. We hope to see lots of your life in Texas, your home, your community, your church family over our Skype calls, visits, and family group chats. We pray that as you walk this path together, that God would be in the center of your marriage and supply all your needs. Thank you.